Yeah. So today we will see something called as call, bind and apply. Call, bind and apply. Remember that in the last session we have seen constructor functions and this keyword. So constructor function I have completed shortly. I will come back again to the constructor functions, right? We have seen a lot of things in the constructor functions over here. But at that time, we found that there is something called as this. So there is something called as this over here. Then we discussed what do you mean by this exactly. And now today we will see one more thing related to call, bind and apply. App01.js. Remember that this is a favorite topic for interviewers. So call, what do you mean by call? In JavaScript, the call method is used to invoke the function with a specified this value. Now see, let's have a function say hi, and here I can say console.log this.nm, and here we can say this message. Here we can say hey, a name of that person, and the particular message $MSG. Okay, and if I call say hi over here, and if I pass hello, and if you run this code cd day 52 node app01.js, can you see hey undefined? Because there is nothing called as nm inside this. In other word, this keyword is unspecified. In other word, this keyword is, the value of this is unspecified over here. Right? Hello? Am I audible? Yes. So this keyword is undefined. So call function says that you can specify the value of this keyword. You can specify a value of this keyword when you are calling the function, right? So here you can say const obj, and here I can say nm, and here we can say abc, and now here you can say obj, and if you see here this, so we'll see that, and then I can say value of msg is hello. And now if you run the project, can you see here you are getting undefined for this, and here you are getting say hi dot call obj and hello. You getting my point, right? So you have controlled the value of this. So here this nm is not somewhere inside, but whenever you are calling the value, whenever you are calling particular function, you are doing something called as call. say hi dot call, and first parameter is the value of this. What would be this representing? So in this case, this keyword will point to this object because of this line. And then the method parameters like hello and these things, or you have message 1 2 3, whatever parameters you have over here, you can pass comma separated parameters here, right? That's what the call is. Now if you see, in JavaScript, call method is used to invoke the function with the specified this value and the individual arguments. Unlike the apply method, which takes the array of the argument, we will see this method allows you to pass the argument one by one. Can you see? Comma separated arguments. So here function, this function means function to be called, this value and comma separated arguments. Getting my point? Hello?
Yes. So is this the alternative method basically to call a function rather than just calling say hi and passing a message? We can call say hi dot call so and then pass the parameter.
Correct. See, so you will use this thing whenever you want to work with this keyword, whenever you want to manipulate the this keyword, right? Whenever you want to manipulate what? This keyword, you will, whenever you want to manipulate this keyword, you will do something like this. So you can have multiple values of this. So when you can call one with this obj, you can call another with another obj, means from external without changing this function, you are changing the content of this by means of the call, right? Now 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 one use case over here, let us see. We have function car, function car. This is the, if you remember the constructor function will start from the capital letter, right? And here you can have this dot name is equals to this incoming name, sorry, this dot name is equals to name, and I have another constructor function bmw. Now before you call this bmw, so I can say const bmw is equals to new bmw. This is what we do with the constructor functions. They would be considered as a classes. So whenever we would be understanding classes, again I will explain the constructor functions by means of object oriented principles, right? Now what do you do over here? See now, animal dot call. So here what we can do, car dot call this means it is representing this, and then we can pass a name of the car, Porsche, okay, and sorry, it's a BMW, and then this dot speed is equals to this thing. So here I can say speed, and instead of the static value we can have speed like this. So here I can say 90. Remember that you have passed this inside the BMW, which means that a BMW dot speed, something like this, and BMW dot, okay, car dot call, and you can do something like this also. First name comma this thing. So here I can say first parameter as name, second parameter as, so first parameter you will pass over here, second parameter you will assign to the speed. First parameter, so this dot call will call to this constructor function. So this dot call, you can say this will call this constructor function, assign the name, right? And if you, so technically what's happening over here, so this is one constructor function, this is another constructor function. From this constructor function you are calling this constructor function, so kind of inheritance. This is kind of what? Inheritance. Which means that BMW is inheriting the car, things related to the car. So car.call, and so here if you see car.call, which will call this thing, but with customized this object, which is nothing but what? So here you have passed this, so this will represent to this, right? Now, so here I can say name BMW, like this, and console.log, here if you see BMW, see what do you get? Yeah, now see BMW is consisting of name and the speed, right? But technically if you look at the BMW is having only speed, this dot speed. So technically it should print only speed, but because of this line, now if I comment this line, you can see it is printing only speed. Now what is happening over here? When you say car.call, this is the constructor function of the car, and to the constructor function, this is the constructor function of the car, to this constructor function you are pointing this, right? So in this case, so this will represent to the BMW object, and that's why when you print this BMW object over here, you will get name and speed automatically. Technically, name is not the property of BMW. Do you agree with this or not? Hello? Technically, name is not the property of BMW.
Yes, sir.
Name is the property of car. Okay. So this is one of the use case where you will use this thing. Now next thing is very similar to the call. 02.js. Next thing is very similar to the call. I can have a same function, right? And same thing, const object I can have here, and say hi, right? So here I can say node app02.js. Can you say hey ABC? Hello. Hey ABC and what? Hello. Now there is a one more method inside this that is called as apply. Say hi dot apply. But see, only difference is that instead if there are two parameters msg, and here we can say emoji, one emoji also I need to pass. So here we can say dollar emoji, dollar emoji, and here we can pass emoji like this, and say I will do the call. See, there is no array in the call. There are two parameters to the function. So first parameter represent this object. What should be treated as this? So if you see here, let's run the code. This is the ideal case. Hey ABC, hello and hello. Remember that here to the call, it accepts comma separated arguments. Can you see here? Here, if you pass an array, so this whole would be considered as one. This whole would be considered as one object, and second is undefined. Can you see that? Second is what? Undefined. So in the case of call, this is an interview type question. In the case of call, parameters which are set to the call method are the comma separated arguments. This is message and emoji. While to the apply, you cannot pass the comma separated arguments. See here. Can you see there is an error? There is an error. You cannot pass comma separated values, but you pass, what do you pass? But you pass array. Let's go to the documentation. Apply. In JavaScript, the apply method is used to invoke the function with given this value and array or array like object as an argument. The apply method is similar to the call method, but instead of passing arguments individually, you pass an array as an argument. So here if you can see, this method is particularly useful when number of arguments or their values is not known in advance. So whenever number of values are not known in advance, then you can use when that values are not known in advance. So here if you know the values in advance, that is okay, but we don't know what exactly things are happening here, and that's why we pass an array. That's why we pass an what? Array. Correct? Hello?
Yes.
That is the only difference between call and apply. Now, new file app03.js, app03.js, bind. Bind. What do you mean by bind? Let's have a function let's have this function and this thing. So say hi dot bind. So here we can say const obj is equals to nm abc. Here we can pass obj as it is, and then we can pass hello, and we can pass an emoji like this. And if you think that, can you see nothing is happening? You have called the bind in the same fashion. You have called the bind in the same fashion you have called call and apply. So what's happening? Const fn is equals to, and then we can call fn over here. Can you see now? This is the difference between first two, call and apply, and the bind. Bind always returns a new function. Bind always returns a copy of new function with added this in that. So here when you say, so you got it. So this would be represented by this obj. So here this would be represented by obj. But remember that bind always represents a function, new function, and that function you need to call. Remember this, call and apply doesn't return new function. They work on the same function. But here bind always returns new function. Bind always returns what? New function. Is that clear? Now this property of returning new function, gives you a lot of flexibility and a lot of new things to do. Okay, let's have a function, and I can say, let's have a function, and I can say long params. Here I can have a, b, c, d, e, f. These many parameters are there. So long params a, b, c, d, e, f. These many parameters are there. And here let's return a is equal, sorry, a is equals to a, b is equals to b, c is equals to c, d is equals to d, e is equals to e, f is equals to f. Now whenever you call this function long params, you need to pass a, b, b, c, d, e and f, right? 1 2 3 4 5 6, 1 2 3 4 5 6, correct? Every time you need to call it. But instead of this, what you can do, and if you run the project, long params and console.log, can you see a something like this? Correct. Now sometimes what you need to do, you need to fix these values. You need to fix these values. So you can call long params.bind, and presently we don't have any this, so I can pass undefined. But a is equals to 1, b is equal or 1 1, so abc 1 1 1, and const here we can say fn lng, fn long params, and then we can say fn lng 2 2 2. So remaining, so first 3 you have passed 1 1 1, second 3 you have passed 2 2 2. So here I can say console.log fn lng, just clear it, node app03.js. Can you see here? So abc will become 1 1 1 and def becomes 2 2 2. So you are creating a partial function over here. You are creating function partially. What this thing is called as? Partial function. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Partial function. And after creating a partial function, you have called with remaining values. You have called with what? Remaining values. You getting my point? Hello? Yes or no? Please respond. You getting my point or not?
Yes, sir.
And that is nothing but what this bind function is. So call, remember that why we are working with call, bind and apply? To set the values of this explicitly, we need to work on the values of this explicitly, and that values can be set from outside. Three functions are doing same thing: call, bind and apply. All of them are doing same thing, there is no difference, but difference regarding with their operation is there. The way you call, the way you call bind, and the way you call apply are different. Well, there is a difference in the tabular form I have written here. So difference, call, bind, apply. Syntax, syntactical difference like this. In the apply and call, there is a difference. In the apply, arguments are passed by means of an array. Use case, use when passing the arguments individually, use when arguments are dynamic, and use when creating a bound function with the preset context and the optional arguments. Immediate invocation, yes, it is an immediate invocation. Immediate invocation. Bind, there is invocation afterwards because it creates the function, and that function you need to call. A return value returns a result of the function, returns the result of the function, returns the new function with specified this value and the partially applied arguments. Function execution, immediate, deferred, function would be executed later on. Example, greet.call. So we have seen the example. Usage scenarios, borrowing methods, explicit this setting, function augmentation, dynamic argument passing, function invocation with an array of arguments, and creating the function with the preset context for the later use. So theoretical things we have seen actually in the code. Okay, so this is about call, bind and apply. This is about what? Call, bind and apply. So tomorrow we are going to start with object oriented principles. And from the object oriented principles, first we will see classes and objects. First we will see what? Hello? Classes and
Yes, sir.
objects. Tomorrow we will see classes and objects. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let's call it for a day. We'll meet tomorrow. I'm giving you time for practicing.
Yes, sir.
So practice this much so that your JavaScript understanding would be concrete. Okay? Yeah. Let's call it for a day. We'll meet tomorrow. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.